Thank you guys so much for inviting me to be on and to do this seminar for you guys. I'm a 9th degree black belt in Taekwondo. Taekwondo is my core art. It's how I got started in the martial arts. So last year I received my Grandmaster, my 9th degree. I also had the pleasure of going to Bangkok, Thailand. I got inducted into the official Taekwondo Hall of Fame last year, which was a real honor for me. I'm also an 8th degree black belt with Bill Superfoot Wallace. And I have a 7th degree black belt with Joe Lewis. Joe and Bill are my kickboxing mentors, and they were my heroes in the martial arts. And so for me personally, it's really cool to have rank with those guys. I also have a 7th degree black belt in a Japanese style of jiu-jitsu known as the weeping style. So under Burl Parsons. And I have a 4th degree black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So those are my ranks. I'm also a defensive tactics instructor. I work with the Pulaski County Sheriff's Department, and I'm a defensive tactics instructor for law enforcement here in Arkansas. Anyway, what we're going to be working on today, guys, is footwork. I'm a big believer in footwork. When you're in the right place at the right time, you score more and you get scored on less. So I think it's really important. You know, footwork is the master's art. So I never get tired of working on my footwork. So I've got some things planned for us today to get in and get working on footwork, some drills, things that you can do at home. Hopefully all the COVID is going to start going away. We're going to be able to get back in our gyms and get back to our regular classes. But right now, I think it's really important that we have some things that we can do at home to just kind of keep moving and keep kind of our martial attitude going. All right, so come here this way. Tony, tilt that down for me just a little bit more. Great, okay. So right here, I've got a line on the floor. And I'm a big believer in using masking tape because it comes up easy. You can put it down quick. It's cheap. It's easy. And it's a great training aid. So now, if you'll scoot back just a little bit and angle it up just a hair, a little bit further back. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to try to talk real loud because I'm not really sure how the microphone is picking up. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay, as well as be able to see me. So one of the things I want to work on doing right now is exploding off the line. So when we're talking about footwork, I like to divide footwork into 2 categories. We have big movement, which is our mobility kind of footwork that gets us out of situations where we're rotating around, being able to move in a circular fashion, being able to move in a linear flat fashion so that we're able to control. So principles of footwork. The foot closest to the direction that I want to travel is the foot that moves first. So if I want to go this way, this leg is closest to that direction, I step and then I recover. When I want to go to the other side, I step and then I recover. If I'm moving forward, I step forward and then recover. When I step back, I step back. Each time I move, the foot closest to that direction moves first. So that's a really important principle of movement. I don't want, if I cross my feet like this, if I get hit, I've got no balance, and it's going to be easy for me to get knocked down. So basically, an athletic kind of stance is really important for our movement. I don't fight from a stance. I tend to fight through stances. All right. So that's a really important concept. Our stances are, you should be able to see stances flash in the heat of battle. As I drive, there's my front stance to connect with. I'm weaving. There's my horse stance. I pick my, there's my back stance. I'm gonna be moving through stances constantly, but I've got to have a good athletic based stance that allows me to be able to move. So when I'm doing big movement on the outside, fundamentally, I want my feet to be shoulder width apart, knees slightly bent. Any athletic endeavor, tilt that down just a hair. Thank you. It's hard for my good friend and cameraman here, Tony, because he can't see what's going on right now. So he's kind of having to rely on me to guide the camera. So I want my feet to be roughly maintained shoulder width apart. Okay, there's going to be times that my feet are going to come closer together, and I'd never like my feet to be closer than about a half a shoulder width. See here, if you look, my weight's on the balls of my feet. Here, they're about shoulder width apart. You know, I can kind of come in, and we're going to get into some of that when we talk about our kicking footwork. I don't like my feet to be much further than about a shoulder width and a half apart. Roughly, we're going to maintain shoulder width. So for this big movement, I'll do a box drill. So scoot back just perfect. Okay, so I've got a mat right here. These tatami mats are about 6 foot. So if I'm moving this way, I step, recover, step, recover, step, recover, step, recover. Now I'm moving forward. Step, recover, step, recover, step, recover. Now I'm going that way. Step, recover, step, recover, step, recover. Just like this. I get to the seam in the mat. Step, step, step. Okay? So I have that, then I'm back over. So this little box drill, I can reverse it. Step, recover, step, recover, step, recover, step, recover, step, recover. And I just did a little box. That's great for lateral movement. So I think that's a really important drill. Sometimes I'll work on a little rotary drill. Now, you see people will circle, you know, rotary just circling. I hate when I see people bouncing and their feet come together. And so, get back here where you can see me a little bit. To me, this is, when I see people doing this and their feet are coming together, that's not good. I never want both feet off the ground at the same time. Look at this heavy bag, okay? This big old heavy bag, it's a Thai style bag. This one, because we filled it ourselves, I know weighs close to 150 pounds, and yet with one finger, I can push it in the air, okay? No problem, I can push this. Now, if this bag was laying on the ground, I couldn't push it at all. When I'm moving, if I have both feet in the air at the same time, then if somebody were to kick me, punch me, they're gonna blow me backwards. That is not safe. So what I wanna do is make sure that I have one foot on the ground. Now, tilt that down just a little bit. Perfect, Tony. So when I'm doing my rotary, I want to maintain, I don't want to get squared up like I'm playing, like I was guarding somebody in basketball. I want to maintain a fighting kind of stance. Now, as I'm moving, I'm going to step recover. Okay, so it's kind of like our lateral drill that we did. I'm going to, as I'm moving, I'm maintaining my stance. I've got my left foot in front, my right foot in back. So as I'm traveling around and I'm circling, I've got maintaining this fighting position. I don't want to, when I'm circling, ending up getting squared up, or even if I had my hands up, I'd look like goalposts. I want to maintain my fighting stance, my athletic stance, so that as I'm circling, rotarying out, I'm maintaining some defensive capabilities. I've got good balance, and I can continue to strike. So those are a couple ideas about our big movement on the outside. You can say that fast, you know, foot closest to the direction I want to travel moves first. So it's a good thing, man. I'll just practice. Step forward, step back, step to one side, step to the other. Another little
so Mr. Dring, do you actually want the students to practice this?
Backwards, or I can step forward. All right, so it's kind of like having a forward round step and weeping style. In the Japanese jiu-jitsu, we call them forward round steps and backward round steps for for our purposes in boxing, they just call it pivoting in, pivoting out, forward pivot, backward pivot, forward round step, backward round step, potato, potato. So anyway.
So Master Dring, do you want the students to do an exercise? What do you want them to do?
Pardon?
Yeah, what do you want the students to do?
Okay, kind of just, guys, if y'all will just stand up and follow along with what I'm doing, that's exactly what I want you guys to do. And I'm sorry I didn't make that clear at the front end. So when I'm doing these footwork, I want you doing them right along with me. You don't have to have any lines on the floor. You just need to be standing there with me and following along. So as I do the footwork drill, I want you guys to do the footwork drill. And I'm sorry for not making that clear on the front end. Okay, so here we are. All right, so following me, all right, you're facing me. So we're gonna move this way. Foot closest to that direction, step and recover. Again, move in that direction, step, recover. Good, make sure that you've got, you know, a good boxing stance, good fighting stance, good back stance, whatever you normally like to kind of spar out of. Now, you're gonna step and recover, step and recover, step and recover. Good, now we're gonna go the other way. Step, recover, step, recover, step, recover, step, recover. Now we're going back. Now, when I'm fighting, I don't have eyes in the back of my head, so it's not a good idea to run backwards. But everybody is going to take a step backward. I never want to take more than 2 steps before I start to cut an angle. That way I don't get driven into the ropes. I don't get driven out of bounds. I don't get driven up against a wall or a car in self-defense. So I may take a step or even 2, and then I'm going to work on starting the rotary out. But you do have to be able to step backwards. So step back, step forward, step forward. Move to one side, just like this. Good. Now, step back, step over, step over, step over, step forward, step over to the side, step back. Good. And that's just a little box drill. Something that you can definitely do on your own and do it at home. Now, so we had these, that box drill I think is huge. And you can work it on your own a lot. Now, we have delivery footwork. So I have big movements on the outside that kind of get me into position. But then I've got to have my firing footwork, the footwork that I'm going to use to bridge that last little bit of gap. We're going to define gap as the distance between the tool and the target, okay? So when I'm punching, if I can't make contact at full extension, there's a gap between the end of my tool and my target, all right? So now, this is where we're going to start working on some explosive footwork like we would use for our jab. Tilt that down just a hair. Perfect right there, Tony. Maybe up just, there we go. Now, I want you guys, everybody rock up and down on the balls of your feet. Now, it's one of the reasons having really good calves and ankles, one of the reasons why we spend a lot of time jumping rope, but you can spend a lot of time working on your footwork, and it's going to help make you strong. So I've noticed when I'm bouncing up and down, the balls of my feet are not leaving the ground. So just rock up and down with me. Good. Okay, just keep it. You should feel your knees. I kind of have my butt tucked up underneath me. My back is nice and straight. I feel the ground. Now, I'll rock forward, rock back. Rock forward, rock back. So now, shift your weight over your lead leg. I'm up on the ball of my foot and my back leg. Push back. Good. So now, just kind of trying to feel the ground under your feet. Now, just rocking back and forth and pushing my hips forward, hips back, hips forward, hips back. Good. Now, here, it's almost like I'm in a rear stance or a cat stance. Not almost, that's what I am in. And pick your front foot up off the ground. Feel all your weight on the back of your leg. So now this is 100% of your weight on your back leg. Put your front foot down. Rock your weight over it. Good. Pick your back leg up. Now you got 100% of your weight over your front leg. So it's a good way to kind of start feeling your weight distribution. So you rock back, rock forward, rock back. Good. Now, I'm going to be pushing myself backwards just a little bit with my front foot, but I'm really, really driving forward with my back leg. So my back leg is really driving forward, and my front foot is just stopping me from going forward. So I feel a dynamic tension in my legs, and like I'm trying to separate the mat. So now my hands are up, and from right here, I get that. Now I'm gonna pick my front foot up, and it's like having one foot on my back foot is my gas pedal, my front foot is the brake pedal. Now we're gonna get that, feel yourself, feel the ground. Man, you're digging in with your toes like a tiger. Now, from right here, I'm just gonna pick my front foot up and go forward. Tilt that down just a little bit, Tony. Thank you. So from right here, a little bit more. Good. I'm not trying to cover too much ground. All I want to do is go about a foot length, okay, the length of my foot. So here I get it up, and then I clap. Good. And now you can see my heel is about in line with the tape. So I went the distance of my foot. That will help me bridge the gap. Now we're going to add our jab into it, okay? So this is a great footwork for our jab. I'm here, hands up, okay? Now, think really pushing back with the front foot. I'm thinking driving forward with my back foot. Good, rock back and forth. Now really feel your feet bite the ground. We have that, great. Now I'm gonna pop the clutch. I'm just gonna take my front foot, bang, and fire, okay? So with the jab, my hand's gonna move first and then my feet are gonna move second. My arm's got more distance to travel with the jab. My foot is not trying to travel that much. So I would move around and get into position, then I pull the trigger. Okay, do it with me, ready, and fire. Good. Now after I throw that jab, I want you to break level and look. What I'm doing is I'm trying to avoid being hit in the face. At the same time, I'm looking to hit the other guy, all right? So I'm building my defense into my offense. I'm always thinking, hit him, hit him, hit him. But I want to make sure that I'm moving my head and not just standing there to be hit. So here, my hands are up, and I fire, break. Good. Now, I'm here, back on my mark, and develop that tension. Fire. Good. Get back on your mark, and fire. Good. Back on my mark. And you'll notice I don't like throwing my jab and then coming straight back to my point where I was, because it makes it easy for my partner or my opponent to know where I am to be able to hit me. So when I fire, I break level and I look to see if I've got any other openings. Then I just take a little step off, step back, step over. Now I get to kind of practice a mini box drill, and I get to keep reviewing the footwork principles that we've already talked about, okay? Let's do that one more time. Make sure you guys have it down. So I'm here. Now get ready. Fire, break down and look. Step over, step back, step over. We're right back to where we started from. Let's try it again. Get ready and fire, break down. Step, step, step. Good. One more time. Pick it up a little bit, guys. Okay, from here. Fire, break down. Step, step, step. Good. Keep it alive. That's such a huge drill, okay? Now, we're going to use this to start closing a little bit more distance. So from here, I'm going to throw my jab, do it with me slow. So I go fire. Now this time, tilt that down. Before when I fired, I was like I had a bungee cord from my front foot to my back foot. This time, but I maintain distance. I step and then I recover, and my feet stayed the same distance apart. This time, I'm going to pull my back foot up. So when I step, I'm bringing my ball of my back foot in line, and I'm going to come over here so you can see. The ball of my back foot is going to be on the same line as the heel of my lead leg. Okay, so I'm really bringing my back foot up. So I'm going to go from here. I'm going to step. Okay, we're going to do this slow together. Step. Now, my back foot is going to come up so that my ball of my foot is about in line with my heel. And then I'm going to throw my right hand. Okay? Tilt that up just a hair, Tony. Just a little bit more. A little bit more. Perfect. Okay. So here I am. All right? So from here, I'm going to go high-low. The combination is going to be jab to the face, punch to the body, but I'm going to close some gap with it. So from here, I go. All right. Now, this allows me to gain a lot of distance in on my opponent. So I threw my jab, and if you can see here, my heel is right on this line that I drew on the ground. I put that masking tape on the ground. Don't worry if you don't have tape on the ground. You just want to notice. So I throw here. Now my back foot is going to step up. Now before, when I threw my jab, my feet stayed the same width apart as they were when I started. This time, I'm bringing that back foot up extra. It allows me to really close some distance. So I go jab, this foot came up. Now, you can kind of see my ball of my foot of the back leg is in line with my heel. Now I'm throwing to the body right here. Man, and now I started out behind the line. Now I'm way in front of it. So a lot of times I'll use that jab in and out, kind of probe their defense and find out what kind of fighter I'm dealing with. Do they stand still and block? Do they back up? Are they going to try to counterattack? I want to get a feel for what my opponent is doing. All right, one more time. Do it with me. We're going to jab, step, fire. Good. Okay. From here, jab. Now, as I bring this foot up, I'm going to throw the jab, bring this foot up. Now, fire, dropping down low. Good. Now, from right here, I'm going to just step over, weave out, back around. Okay, do it again with me. Ready? Jab, step, fire. Step around. Good. Okay, one more time. From right here, jab, step, fire. Come out. Good. So this can really help you with your boxing and with your boxing footwork, kind of your head movement, get you used to breaking levels. Okay. So I think this is really important. Now, playing with my footwork, I'm here. Okay, I've got my feet on the line, tilted down just a hair again, thank you. So from here, I'm going to throw my jab. Bang. Now I'm going to jab, step, fire. Good. Weave. Now as I weave, there's where I can add in my round kick. Okay, do this with me. So I jab, step up, punch, weave out, round kick, and then back to where I was. So you can see how you can just kind of keep building on this drill, building on this drill, building on this drill to add it in, okay? Let's do that again. So we're going to go out and back this time with the jab. So I go fire back, Okay, now here's a great little drill. This time I've got a plus sign. You can see a plus sign and a time sign. Okay, so all you got to do is just kind of picture that in your mind's eye. Now I'm going to jab in, step out at an angle. Jab in, step out at an angle. Okay, do this with me at home. Step in, step out. 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 All right. Once you get good at that, you can also go back the other way. All right. Now, this is great for getting you to go in on one line, coming out at another. So I can step in, step out. Now I'm at a totally different angle than I was when I went in. It's another great drill that you can do, okay? Try it with me. We're just going to go in and out. So I'm keeping my feet equidistant apart. I'm throwing the jab in, jab, step out. Good. You come out at your angle. Let's try it again. Ready? Jab, out. Good. All right. So it's another great way of utilizing just that simple step. I'm going in on one angle, coming out on another. Going in on one angle, coming out on another. Guys, one thing I don't get tired of is working on my footwork. I think it's so important. When you're in the right position, like I said earlier, you score more, you get scored on less. And so being able to be in the right place at the right time. I know there's a lot of you guys out there that have also had the opportunity to train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. They talk about positional theory, you know, the mount, side control, side mount, back mount, knee on belly, guard, positions of dominance. As fighters, stand-up fighters, we too should always be thinking about positional theory, being able to cut angles, get in, get out, break level, looking from one side, looking to the other, okay? So from your stance, just squat, look one side, look the other, good, okay? Working on little simple things like that can be huge as far as developing up your ability to hit people without getting hit. All right, see it's about 11:30 and I was told we might have some questions, so.
All right, team. Fantastic. Okay, thank you, Mr. Dring. All right, listen up, team. Let me see who has a question. I see we have Sparsh. Sparsh, you have your hand up. Sparsh, what is your question?
How old are you?
How old am I? Well, I'm 58 years young. That's how I like to think of it.
Good answer, Mr. Dring. Good answer. I like that. All right, there's a next question from Nicholas. Nicholas, what's your question?
What year did you open your school?
What year? So I started teaching back in 1981, and then I bought my gym from my instructor in 1985, and I opened up in my own location March 3rd, 1986. Long time ago.
All right,
Thank
good
you,
answer.
buddy.
Next question. Next question. Raise your hand, please, team. Oh, right there, iPad 6. Hey, guys, what's your question?
What degree black belt are you?
Well, I'm a 9th degree black belt in Taekwondo. I'm an 8th degree black belt in the Superfoot system with Bill Wallace. I'm a 7th degree black belt in the Joe Louis fighting systems under Joe Louis. I'm a 7th degree black belt in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm a 4th degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I also have an honorary black belt from one of Joe Louis's instructors in Shorin-ryu. So I've got a bunch of different black belts.
Awesome. That's very cool. Hey, Mr. Lindamood, I saw you had your hand up. What's your question?
Yes, sir. Who created liquid soap and why?
Next. Mr. Lindamood, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, sir. How about yourself?
Just blessed and glad to be online with you guys today.
Awesome.
Can you say hello to your wife for me as well?
Yes, sir. I sure will. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, raise your hand if you have questions. Hannah, what's your question?
What would your top advice be for someone who hopes to teach or have school one day?
My number one advice is to don't just talk about it, be about it. You know, study, train. There's no such thing as bad knowledge, you know. Not everything is going to fit every body type. One of the aspects that I've really taken from my time in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that I've kind of applied to everything that I do in the martial arts is this concept about game. You know, the Brazilians talk about having a good side control game or a good half guard game or a good spider guard game. Well, as a stand-up, we can apply that to all our martial arts, right? But as an instructor, I may not play De La Hiva. I may not be a jump 360 spin heel kicker, but I need to understand it and have trained it well enough so when I have a student that can do those things, I'm knowledgeable enough that I can actually help teach them. So you have to understand as a coach and as an instructor, it's not enough for you to be good as an individual. You've got to not only be good as an individual, but you have to understand the martial arts well enough that you can help others be good regardless of the attributes that they were blessed with. You know, so we got some people are short and heavy. We have people that are tall and heavy. We have people that have long arms. We have people that have little T-Rex arms. You know, we have people are built different. And so it's our job as instructors to be able to help develop that individual. Now, that doesn't mean I might have them working on stuff that really doesn't fit them because I want them to understand that so that maybe if they decide to be a coach one day, they'll be able to do it. But study, train, and, you know, have fun. Just realize, you know, we're not on this planet forever. Every day that I get to do martial arts, I feel blessed. You know, I think it's absolutely great, and I really appreciate your question.
Great question. Good job, Hannah. All right, I see Emma, you have a question.
So are there any ways that you can train with somebody else, like a parent or a sibling with different equipment?
Pardon, repeat that for me one time. Scoot a little closer so I can hear your question.
Are there ways that you can get a parent or a sibling to help you out with this using equipment with Footwork?
Yes. So, Tony, turn. All right. These are just resistance bands. I think you can get them at Walmart or Academy Sports, places like that. Century Martial Arts also makes a Powerline ripcord. And I've got one of those on my back wall, but right here, so I can take and slip in to this and I'll step forward. Now I just have this this rubber band tied behind me. Now, when I take my step, I'm firing against resistance. So that's one way that I can do that. Now, another thing that I can do is have my parent, you know, have a parent, have a friend, a training partner. And so, Tony, come around here this time. Great. So here I've just got it tied onto my workout machine, but you can have somebody pulling it. Now, this time I'd be, you know, facing the person that was holding it, and then I could step and it'll help me move faster forward than what I could normally. All right. Another thing that I can do is I will have somebody just stand there with their fist out. Okay, so now you have an idea, or they can stand there with their foot out, so you have an idea of distancing. Now, it's your job to be able to move, drop your head, and slip in past that fist and see if you can get close enough where you could touch them. So that's another way of using these footwork drills with a partner to see if you can get close enough to actually be able to score.
Good question, Emma.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, somebody else question, guys. Here we go. Nicholas, what's your question?
How many years have you been doing Taekwondo?
Gosh. Oh, well, I guess I'm getting close to 45 years altogether. So been maybe not quite, probably about 42 or 43 years. I got to train a little bit. How old are you, buddy?
I'm 10.
10. Okay, well, I first started when I was 7 years old. I got to train a little bit when I was 7 with my dad. And then, of course, when I was 7, I couldn't drive a car. So when his work hours changed, we didn't get to keep going on, but it kind of sparked an interest in me that I've never given up. So I got back into it when I was about 17 and hadn't stopped. So I guess right at 42 years now. I've been going almost 42 years.
That is a very long time. All right, I see Phil Ford. Did you have a question?
Yes. Yesterday I was playing my scooter before the rain hits in the storm, and when it was raining a little bit, I was playing outside with my chalk when it was raining on the floor, and I've been doing some stuff I like.
Well, Taekwondo is good stuff to do when it's raining and you can't go outside and play. So you get out there and practice your footwork and stretch and do your kicks, and it'll help the time pass, I promise.
That was great advice. Great advice, Master Dring. Absolutely. When it's raining outside, guys, you can be inside and training and training and training. I see Aislinn, you have a question.
If you had one piece of equipment you would recommend buying for at-home training, what would it be?
Well, boy, that's a good question. That's a thinker right there. I'm going to have to think on that one. But so I'm real big on using what I have around my house. Like I can hold on to a chair and do 4-count kicks. You know, I see a footstool in the picture behind you, and you can put your foot up on that footstool and use that to help with your stretches. If I had to have anything at home that I had to buy, I would want a heavy bag. I think that would probably be my my number one thing is to be able to have a heavy bag at home. And then if I couldn't have a heavy bag, maybe a double M ball, because then I can work my kicks and I can work my kicks and my punches. So I want a piece of equipment that I can get a lot of work on. And the heavy bag would be my first.
Yeah, I do agree with you, Master Drink. I definitely enjoy having a heavy bag at home.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Aislinn. Great question. I see Emma. Emma, what's your question?
Do punching mitts and this kind of bag back here work too?
Oh, you better believe it. You know, that those Wave Masters are brilliant because some places you just can't hang a heavy bag. It makes it difficult. So when you've got the Wave Master, that's a wonderful heavy bag. And if you've got somebody that'll hold the punching mitt for you, by all means, you know, I think that's huge.
Awesome. Good questions. Very good questions, team. I really enjoyed listening to Master Drink answering it. Do we have any more questions, guys? Any more questions? No, that's it. Hey, Master Drink, can you still hear us?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Fantastic. That was a great seminar, everybody. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us. We are going to end this seminar. Master Drink, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your passion and your expertise. Did you guys enjoy it? Give Master Drink 2 thumbs up.
Great. Hey, thank you very much. And I look forward to coming back. Please invite me back again sometime. And it's been a real pleasure. Thank you all very much.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. All right, team, let's bow out like black belts with an amazing attitude. Everybody, let's stand up tall and strong, hands out. When we say set, you're going to snap into attention and say, yes, sir, loud and clear. Set, yes, sir. And when we bow, we say, yes, I can. To always keep positive mindset and having a yes, I can attitude. Bow. Yes, I can. Excellent job, team. Master Drink, again, thank you so much. And we can't wait to see you back. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.